All right, so a lot of the videos that I have done over the last 7 years have been focused on training and explaining programs, and I'm going to get back to that, of course, but I want to take a minute this year and do some kind of different things. And my focus on a couple of these videos is going to be more of reminding us of the importance and of the job that we have as teachers and a motivation for why we continue to do what we do. This is my 34th year teaching, and one of the things that I think is lacking a lot in education is just that piece of reminding everybody how important our job is and the impact that we have on each other and the students and families that we work with. And so I want to highlight that today and talk about one of the things that I have found. If you had come back and found me in time and talked to me in high school and asked would I want to be a teacher, I would have definitely said not a chance. And that changed because of an impact of one teacher in high school that pretty much motivated me to continue my education, to go to college. And along the way, I decided, you know what, maybe I can have that impact on others. And I still remember that teacher to this day. And I think a lot of us have those impacts on people's lives. And in teaching this long, one of the things that has kept me in that is the amount of students that have come back 4 years or 10 years or messaged you on some social media site to tell you how grateful they were to be in your class or the impact you had on them. And that happens at just the right moments, at times where you're thinking maybe this is where um, I want to go do something different or something like that. And someone will pop up and say, hey, you know what? I just want to tell you how much I enjoyed being in your class and the impact you had on me. And that is one of the things that have kept me in the profession. And I think that it's one of the things that's sorely lacking for teachers today is that impact and having people remind them the importance of the job. And so I want to take a couple of videos this year and kind of highlight that. And I'm going to do that today with um, Drew Dudley's Leading with Lollipops speech. It was a TED talk that he did, and when I heard this speech, it was one, it's hilarious, but also reminds us of the importance of the impact we can have on others. So I'm going to turn it over to Drew for a minute.
Redefinition. I went to a school in a little school called Mount Allison University in Sackville, New Brunswick. And on my last day there, a girl came up to me and she said, I remember the first time that I met you. And then she told me a story that happened 4 years earlier. She said, on my day before I started university, I was in a hotel room with my mom and my dad. And I was so scared and so convinced that I couldn't do this, that I wasn't ready for university, that I just burst into tears. And my mom and my dad were amazing. They were like, look, we know you're scared, but let's just go tomorrow. Let's go to the first day. And if at any point you feel as if you can't do this, that's fine. Just tell us, we'll take you home. We love you no matter what. And she said, so I went the next day and I was standing in line getting ready for registration. And I looked around and I just knew I couldn't do it. I knew I wasn't ready. I knew I had to quit. And she said, I made that decision. And as soon as I made it, there was this incredible feeling of peace that came over me. And I turned to my mom and my dad to tell them that we needed to go home. And just at that moment, you came out of the student union building wearing the stupidest hat I've ever seen in my life. It was awesome. And you had a big sign promoting Shinorama, which is Students Fighting Cystic Fibrosis, a charity I've worked with for years. And you had a bucket full of lollipops. And you were walking along and you were handing the lollipops out to people in line talking about Shinorama. And all of a sudden, you got to me and you just stopped and you stared. It was creepy. This girl right here knows exactly what I'm talking about. And then you looked at the guy next to me and you smiled and you reached in your bucket, you pulled out a lollipop and you held it out to him. And you said, you need to give a lollipop to the beautiful woman standing next to you. And she said, I have never seen anyone get more embarrassed faster in my life. He turned beet red. He wouldn't even look at me. He just kind of held the lollipop out like this. And I felt so bad for this dude that I took the lollipop. And as soon as I did, you got this incredibly severe look on your face. And you looked at my mom and my dad and you said, look at that. Look at that. First day away from home. And already she's taking candy from a stranger. And she said, everybody lost it. 20 feet in every direction, everyone started to howl. And I know this is cheesy, and I don't know why I'm telling you this. But in that moment when everyone was laughing, I knew that I shouldn't quit. I knew that I was where I was supposed to be, and I knew that I was home. And I haven't spoken to you once in the 4 years since that day. But I heard that you were leaving. And I had to come up and tell you that you've been an incredibly important person in my life. And I'm going to miss you. Good luck. She walks away, and I'm flat. And she gets about 6 feet away. She turns around and smiles and goes, you should probably know this too. I'm still dating that guy 4 years later. A year and a half after I moved to Toronto, I got an invitation to their wedding. Here's the kicker. I don't remember that. I have no recollection of that moment. And I've searched my memory banks because that is funny and I should remember doing it. And I don't remember it. And that was such an eye-opening, transformative moment for me to think that maybe the biggest impact I'd ever had on anyone's life, a moment that had a woman walk up to a stranger 4 years later and say, "You've been an incredibly important person in my life," was a moment that I didn't even remember. How many of you guys have a lollipop moment, a moment where someone said something or did something that you feel fundamentally made your life better? All right. How many of you have told that person they did it? See, why not? We celebrate birthdays where all you have to do is not die for 365 days. And yet we let people who have made our lives better walk around without knowing it. And every single one of you has been the catalyst for a lollipop moment. You have made someone's life better by something that you said or that you did. And if you think you haven't, think about all the hands that didn't go back up when I asked that question. You're just one of the people who hasn't been told. But
So I love that story because it reminds us of the impact we can have on people's lives. And as teachers, we reach out and touch so many families and people's lives on a day-to-day basis. And so I wanted to highlight that this year, really focus in. There's going to be a few of those videos, kind of motivational videos this year to kind of talk about something different, but to remind you of the importance of the job that we have and the impact that we can have on others, and to keep it up.